The Clippers just had their biggest offseason in franchise history. And well, overall, the 2019 offseason has been the craziest, most impactful offseason we've ever seen. Going into the summer, we knew a ton of marquee free agents were going to be available. We knew that many of them were looking at different options, but I don't think any of us could have predicted all of this to happen. In this video, I'll talk about the Kawhi signing and the trade for Paul George and how them going to the Clippers impact the rest of the NBA. At 1:53 a.m. Eastern Time, Chris Haynes dropped the bomb, announcing that Kawhi would be signing with the LA Clippers. 3 minutes later, Woj dropped another bomb, announcing that the Clippers have made a blockbuster trade, acquiring Paul George for a record-breaking number of draft picks. This trade came at a huge cost for the Clippers. These are the full details. That's an insane number of picks, it's crazy. 5 future first-round picks. They also gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had a spectacular rookie season. But the thing is, what some people don't get is that this trade was essentially for both Kawhi and George. Reportedly, Kawhi and George talked about teaming up on the Clippers for a while. Kawhi wanted George to request a trade, so he did. OKC granted his request and made the trade. If the Clippers don't trade for George, then Kawhi does not sign there. If you look at it this way, this trade was essentially a package deal. Obviously, this means that the Clippers went all in, and now they're banking on Kawhi and PG-13 to lead them to a championship in the next couple years, which is honestly a very realistic possibility. If you look at the Western Conference right now, it's about to be a bloodbath. It's always been pretty brutal, but the Warriors were always the favorites. But now, the Warriors are the weakest they've been since 2014, with a combination of losing Durant, losing Iguodala, and with Klay's injury. The Rockets, who've been the Warriors' biggest competition in the last few years, they now have to face even more contenders. After that, it's a mixed bag. Some good teams, some young up-and-coming teams trying to make noise, and then we have the Lakers. However, the cost for them was astronomical. Lonzo, Ingram, Josh Hart, and the 4th pick of the draft. Now, the Lakers are in desperate need of some good role players, and they have to rely on minimum contracts to fill out the rest of the roster. All of this scrambling by the Lakers is basically because of Kawhi. There's only a limited pool of talented players, and the Lakers seem to have waited too long for Kawhi's decision, so they missed out on other free agents. I think that's the funny part about all this. Other teams were waiting so long for Kawhi to make his decision because all of their offseason moves were based on Kawhi's decision. This applies to the Raptors too. They were hoping Kawhi would re-sign because, well, they just won the championship. Since he didn't re-sign, the Raptors did not have any chance to target other key free agents either. Speaking of the Raptors, I thought I'd say that there was literally nothing more they could do to keep Kawhi. We all knew that when the Raptors traded for him, it was most likely going to be a one-year rental. However, there was some hope that he would stay. We've heard rumblings throughout the season that Kawhi was unsure of where he wanted to go. He wanted to see how well the Raptors do, and you can't get any better than winning the title. Restaurants around the city were offering him free food. All the fans, all his teammates, and the entire organization supported him the whole season. He was handed the keys to the offense, and he was also handed the keys to a multi-million-dollar house that someone wanted to give him to get him to stay. That's insane. However, it recently came out that Kawhi and George have talked about teaming up for a while. Kawhi was waiting all this time for the Clippers to get George, and that's why he was taking so long. But his decision was already made, at least for the last couple days as far as we know. So at the end of the day, was Kawhi really planning on staying in Toronto? Probably not. It's unfortunate for the team, and the Raptors are no longer favorites to win the title. Actually, I'm not even sure they're gonna get out of the first round next year. Kawhi is that good. He meant so much to the team. This also opens up the door for the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Bucks, along with some other dark horse contenders and some sleeper teams. The East is now wide open. The Clippers, on the other hand, I think they should be the favorites to win the West. They might even be favorites to win the title. They were already a solid team last year, but they didn't actually lose that many players in the Paul George trade. It was mainly just draft picks, which don't have an immediate effect. Player-wise, they just lost Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari. Well, I guess it is kind of a big deal. Gallinari averaged nearly 20 points a game, and Shea was a key player and a defensive stud. But you replace him with Kawhi and Paul George, who are both much better, so it's all good. Unlike the Lakers, the Clippers have a legit roster outside of their two stars. They have a legit supporting cast. I don't think there's any combination of role players the Lakers could sign who would put them over the top. It's a bit too late now. As for OKC, well, looks like they're starting a brand new era. Fortunately, they got a massive haul for Paul George, and it's going to kickstart their rebuild quite nicely. The question is, are they going to trade Westbrook as well? There's no way they could compete for the title, and Westbrook has regressed in the last couple years, and I doubt he could carry the Thunder back to the playoffs. Logically, it seems like the best time to trade him while he still has some value, but unless Westbrook actually demands a trade, I don't think they'll do it. While many Thunder fans are pissed off and upset at losing George, it might be a blessing in disguise. The last couple years have been rough and the whole team is ready for a fresh start. Maybe it's best for the organization to go this way. Also, getting Shea and Gallinari in the trade still means that they're going to be somewhat competitive. A lot of people are sleeping on Gallo, but the question with him is always with injuries. If he could stay healthy, the Thunder will still likely make the playoffs. And that's all, folks. That sums up my initial thoughts on the implications of the Clippers' roster changes. I think they're certainly legit contenders, and looking at the rest of the NBA, they have a great shot at winning the title next year. Let me know your thoughts on these moves, and what are your predictions for next season? Who do you think will be the new champions? Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.